This episode of Fluid Power Forum is sponsored by IFP Motion Solutions Incorporated, the leader at engineering electronics into fluid power distribution. IFP spans the 13 central states from Minnesota to Texas. For more information, visit ifpusa.com.
We took something that took 320 man hours and cut that down to 12 man hours. The city manager couldn't write his contract fast enough.
Welcome to Fluid Power Forum, a podcast of the National Fluid Power Association. I'm your host, Eric Lanke, and it's my job to interview interesting people who are moving fluid power technology forward. If you'd like to be part of our show, as always, we ask that you follow us on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at the NFPA. And while you're there, share those interesting and innovative uses of fluid power with our hashtag #OnlyFluidPowerCan. That is one of the ways that we source topics for our show. If you see an interesting application of fluid power and you want to learn more about it, you can share it on social media with our hashtag #OnlyFluidPowerCan. And you just might hear it discussed on an upcoming episode of Fluid Power Forum. Also, please subscribe to our show. We're on a lot of the podcatching services. You'll find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you find us. Subscribe and then give us a quick rating. Some of those ratings really do help advertise the show and have more and more of our friends in the industry able to join in on these important conversations. On today's show, our guest is Chuck Tuggle. Chuck is a systems application engineer at Hydra-Power Systems, a manufacturer of integrated circuit hydraulic manifolds and custom hydraulic power units. And I recently saw a video online of some modifications they had made to a Dynaset attachment on a Bobcat that uses hydraulics to power wash streets in record time. And so I invited Chuck into our forum today to learn more about that application and the fluid power system design that made it all possible. So Chuck, welcome to Fluid Power Forum.
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me on the Fluid Power Forum.
We're glad to have you. I'm always interested in talking about new applications of fluid power. That's kind of what our show is all about. As I said, interesting and innovative, and I think this one certainly fits into that category. But before we go there, tell our listeners a little bit more about you and your background. How did you find yourself working at Hydra-Power?
Well, it all actually started because I wanted to play football in college, so I went back to school. Started taking some classes because apparently they like you to go to class when you play ball in college.
Sure.
And before I knew it, I had a bachelor's in industrial distribution from UAB. Go Blazers!
Right.
Graduated and had a lot of great memories of playing ball in school and whatnot. And then began my career shortly after that in distribution, working as a territory sales manager here in Alabama. From there, I went to work for a manufacturer covering the Southeast, working with their distribution channel and, working with multiple distributors in this area in fluid power. From that position, I moved over into direct OEM sales, had responsibility for what they call the specialty market. So a lot of area work platforms, work trucks, things like that.
Right.
From there, moved into global account management with another manufacturer, and eventually into my current role, which is an applications engineer. And I've been doing that now, I guess the past 20 of my 30 years in the industry. And it's a really rewarding type of work that I get to do, and I get a chance to support our sales force with unique solutions that provide value to our customers.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had a wide variety of experiences, but all kind of themed around, is it fluid power has been kind of the through line for you during that whole career?
It has.
Yeah.
It has. I've either worked as a just feet on the street distribution guy to the factory guy to the direct factory guy, and now primarily the support role. Kind of making everything work based on the opportunities we have to work on.
Yeah, you said your degree was in industrial distribution. Did I hear that right?
You did, yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that curriculum, at least as it existed at that time. Did it get into the technology, or was it more about the
It,
business
it,
of distribution?
it did. It was primarily a kind of I guess, a very multidisciplined engineering based degree that
Hmm.
also focused on the business side. On the business side, it was a lot of marketing, a lot of distribution, channel management. So it was a great blend of,
Yeah,
the guys who didn't want to necessarily be an engineer, but who were handy enough or had that bug that you had to work on something, and it gave you a chance to leverage that into a commercial role.
yeah. I know that mix of technology and business experience is just so critical to so many people in our industry right now. They're
Absolutely.
thirsty for that kind of talent, and there's just a handful of programs around the country that can really deliver that. So that's great.
There are. I
Yeah,
think the two primary programs that I'm aware of are UAB, where I'm a graduate of, and that's Alabama Birmingham, and
yeah.
then a small school out west in Texas somewhere. I think Texas A&M. I'm not sure if you've heard of them, but
I
yeah, they're a great school.
I've been lost on that campus, so I don't know if it's a small school or not. So yeah,
I, I know when my youngest son was touring, and he we pulled up to the campus, and he's looking around, and he's like, nope, nope. But by the time it was time to leave, he was hooked. He wanted to go,
yeah,
but he decided on a school a little closer to home after
sure.
that
It's a
14-hour drive back.
Well, I have friends there, so I got to say it's a great
Oh yeah,
school. It's a great school, but you definitely need a car to to
absolutely,
move around, right?
absolutely.
So it's
A
like
lot of great guys in our industry come from Texas A&M. So
exactly. Well, great. Well, tell us a little bit more about. So your current role is at Hydra-Power Systems. Tell us a little bit more about them as a company. What do they do, and
sure.
well, you said you're an applications engineer, right? Is that what you said?
Correct.
Yeah.
Hydra-Power Systems is what I consider to be a unique blend of distribution and manufacturing. We're a major distribution for several different product lines. We're Sun's largest global distributor.
Hmm.
Carry a bunch of inventory, which is really valuable in today's environment. We're a privately held company with a very strong management team. So we're making a lot of investment in the company to make us better in our core technologies. We've been in business over 50 years. Over that time, we've really tried to focus in on what we consider to be, what we're good at, and that's hydraulic cartridge manifold and control solutions, big systems, the some of the higher end type work that you would find. Um, the capabilities and the team here are tops of the field, and it's really the driving factor between, what made me decide that I wanted to be a part of this. So, after a very successful 15 years with another major manufacturer in the industry, I paid one visit to these guys in Portland, and I was hooked. I was
Yeah,
ready to go to work for them, and never look back. Really enjoy what I get to do here and the people I get to work with.
that's
So
great.
our solutions can be found on everything from space station freedom, maybe not flying, but do a lot of testing, that kind of
Uh
thing,
huh.
um, to a blowout preventer at the bottom of a Gulf, or in this case of the Dynaset, we're right there in the middle
Right.
with one of the better high pressure surface cleaning solutions here in North America.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, it is a great company, and as you said, the diversity of application is so wide in the industry, and a company like Hydropower really gives you the ability to kind of play in all those spaces. So that must be a real sense of satisfaction for you, I would assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like to say it's a great day at Hydra-Power Systems, and it really is.
That's great. Well, let's get into the application that
Sure.
we wanted to talk about. I mentioned that I think you shared a video on LinkedIn, if I remember correctly, and
We did.
I'll be sure to put that link in the show notes to this episode so people can go check it out as well. But
Okay.
we're stuck with this audio only format in our podcast, so we'll have to describe it as best we can. Let's start with
Yes,
with Dynaset. What is I said it's a Dynaset attachment to a Bobcat. So what's
right.
Dynaset exactly?
Dynaset is a company that's based out of Uljärvi, Finland, and that's about 45 minutes outside of Tampere. If you do anything in hydraulics, you've you've worked with folks out of Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of development for some of the larger global construction equipment companies. They've been in business over 40 years. It's a family-held business, very well managed. Um, they do a lot of really neat solutions. They've been here. They've had a North American presence, I'd say a little over 20 years. Our relationship is, I'd say, maybe 15 years old. So we've been working with these guys for quite a while. The Dynaset KPL is a attachment that is it's a self-contained unit. And what we do is we utilize the hydraulic power source from either a vehicle or, in this case, a piece of construction equipment, or this is a Bobcat Toolcat, which is essentially a mini loader with a gator bed on the back, but with a really beefed up auxiliary hydraulic system. And we take that hydraulic power and we turn it into high pressure water spray.
Yeah.
It has its own water source. We have reservoirs that are available, several different sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. And that's just basically, how big the water tank's going to be. There's 3 different sizes of pumps that are available. You have the KPL 250, 220, and 180, and those numbers correspond to the pressure capability of the pumps in bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with a hydraulic power source of about 3,000 PSI, or 210 bar, we're able to generate, 250 bar, 220, and 180 bar. And those have a corresponding pump output flow on the water side of 8, 13, and 23 gallons a minute on the water side.
Right.
And that's the unit comes complete with all the valvings, the cylinders, the electrical and quick disconnects. The standard attachment that we started with has a 2-meter spray bar on the front, and it's articulated, so we have the ability from in the cab to swing the bar left and right, which allows you to clean a little better surface area.
Right.
And this particular unit works very well as what I'd classify as a water broom. Can sweep the debris using high pressure water, can do some light cleaning, but doesn't really, get you into the deep clean, which is what our customer was looking for.
Right.
So
sorry to interrupt there. Is this something that, we would see, out? Is this like the city would own this and they would use it to clean streets, or is this for private contractors? Like, where would we see this machine in operation?
it's really, we'll sell it to anybody who wants to buy it. Whether you're a city if you're a city or an independent contractor like this gentleman was,
Yeah.
that we did the equipment for. We have several different versions of systems that we've done in which we've taken these and put them on the back of a pickup truck.
Okay.
And there should be something out on social media to that effect as well. And then in this case, like I said, it's a neat little, it's almost like a little quick change device.
Yeah.
Where you're able to go in, attach it, hook up the quick disconnects, and you go. In this case, we wanted to get a little deeper clean than what we were getting with the spray bar. So what we did was we took a 60-inch surface cleaner, which imagine two lawnmower blades on the bottom that are spraying high pressure water, and it just gives you a much larger surface area and lets you concentrate more water at higher pressure in that general area and give you a much deeper clean. The biggest modification we did was in allowing the larger surface cleaner to be attached to the KPL and still be able to articulate it left and right so that we could cover, broader areas.
Right.
For spraying.
I'm trying to get a sense, Chuck, of the environment that this machine would operate in and some of the hazards that it may encounter. Obviously you're using the hydraulics for its power capabilities. It sounds like that you really need to deliver that level of power. Is that because of the level of dirt that's trying to be removed, or is other considerations? Like, what makes this a challenge?
It is the biggest challenge you run into is is just having the ability to concentrate the water at a certain amount of flow at a given pressure, that allows you to focus that in one area long enough to loosen the debris and wash it away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the idea to attach the surface cleaner to the front of the KPL actually happened about 2 o'clock in the morning. We were fueled with a lot of very good coffee.
Coffee, yeah.
We took a 15-minute coffee break, or we took a coffee break about every 15 minutes when we were working on it. And I was looking over as we were trying to fine tune the truck, and we just weren't having a lot of luck getting where we wanted to be. And I noticed the contractor had a small little 24-inch surface cleaner that was just laying against the wall, and I said, let's try something. So we took it, MacGyvered it up really neat, like we like to do in this industry, and came up with something that worked. And then went back and designed some attachments and brackets and fixtures that allow us to change over. The idea was to be able to take the existing spray bar that comes with the Dynaset off and to replace it with a surface cleaner ranging anywhere from 24-inch up to 60 inches.
Yeah.
Okay. And, these, you typically get these from a pressure washer store.
Right.
We just made it so that it was easy to attach and disconnect, almost like a quick change kit that you would find on a coupler for construction equipment. The biggest takeaway from this was, we took this on a demonstration to a city parks and works manager. The guy's watching it, and as he sees it, he realizes that this is going to be such a huge productivity improvement. The city was having to pay 4 men over a week to pressure wash the small children's park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you factor in the amount of time that it takes, the number of man hours, so we took something that took 320 man hours and cut that down to 12 man hours. So the city manager couldn't write his contract fast enough for the operator. The contractor is extremely happy. He's looking to buy some more Bobcat Toolcats and more of these attachments. Dynaset has actually approached us as well, wanting to learn what we did so that this may actually become an option from Dynaset.
That's a great
globally. Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a great testimonial as well. Absolutely. for the creativity and the innovation. We definitely want to talk a little bit more tactically about that hydraulic system that had to be designed to make that work. But I'll tell you what, Chuck, we've reached the point in our show where I got to take just a pause here because I want to make sure I tell our listeners about IFPE, the International Fluid Power Exposition. IFPE is the place where you'll learn everything you need to help your company stay at the forefront of the mega trends affecting your business and industry. From sensor technology and data analytics to robots and automation, you will see the latest innovations in fluid power that will help your machines and applications achieve your technology, performance, and business goals. Only at IFPE can you have in-depth technical conversations with other engineers and executives to help spark new ideas, or talk with suppliers about your specific challenges and the solutions that they can offer, or find new suppliers and new ways of doing things, or attend innovative education classes and sessions covering the latest fluid power topics and industry trends. No other trade show brings as many sectors of the fluid power, power transmission, and motion control industries together in one place, and the event happens only once every 3 years, in conjunction with ConExpo ConAg, the largest international gathering for the construction industries. Our next IFPE show will be held March 14 through 18, 2023 in Las Vegas, Nevada. To learn more and reserve your place, visit ifpe.com. All right, Chuck, like I said, I wanted to, if we can, dig a little bit more into the actual hydraulic modifications that you guys made to bring about this innovation. How would you describe that? What did you do differently with the hydraulic system?
Well, as I said, we started with a hydraulic system that was from Dynaset, which is essentially a set of QDs. One attaches to the pump, one attaches to the cylinder. We quickly realized that in order to do what we needed to do here, we needed to use the vehicle electronics and the joysticks that were already there. So we put together a little package, little controls package with cartridge valves and dual counterbalance that allowed us to control still control hydraulically, but we were going through cartridge valve as opposed to using an auxiliary valve circuit that might be on the equipment. At the time, I had never worked on a toolkit, so I wasn't a toolcat, excuse me.
Right.
I wasn't quite familiar with what we were going to be faced with. So quickly realized that the current hydraulic QDs were not going to work for us. So we pivoted and went to the electric control, which is a standard that's available, by the way, but it was not readily understood on how it would interface with the Bobcat. So we were kind of doing something new as far as putting these two together.
Okay.
Fortunately, Bobcat offers the controls in the cab. If the equipment doesn't come with it, you can add they already have a kit set up. So we were able to provide the electrical harnesses and hydraulic valves and such to quickly convert it over to electric operated hydraulic control for the cylinder and controlling the pump, turning it on and off. The other thing we did was we changed from a smaller pump to a much larger KPL. So we went from a KPL 250 up to the 220.
Yeah.
And it was just shy of doubling our water output while still maintaining high pressure. And again, like I said, we're trying to clean larger surface areas at higher pressures, and being able to make those conversions to the existing Dynaset and marrying it to the Toolcat was what did the trick for us. I'm a huge fan of leveraging existing technology and just trying to figure out a new way to use something to solve a problem. From my perspective, it brings a level of reliability and confidence because you already know it works,
right?
But nobody's tried it like this before. So, you never know till you try it. So again, 2:00 in the morning and you're willing to do just about anything. And we're able to do it, get everything buttoned up and ready for that 7 a.m. meeting with the customer's client. And the Dynaset product line, in addition to the high pressure water pumps, offers additional technologies. They offer electric generators, air compressors, vibratory devices, high volume air movement, either as a blower or a vacuum, and it's all powered with hydraulics.
Yeah.
So if you have hydraulics, Dynaset has a means to help you harness it in solving a problem.
Right. But it sounds like the electronic control piece of it was part of the innovation that you did here. They were not electronically controlled prior to that?
Not this particular unit. Like I said, Dynaset offers one, but it wasn't clearly understood how the Bobcat would interface.
Yeah.
So once we identified that Bobcat offered a kit that was easily added to the Toolcat, and we were able to pull the components out of inventory that gave us a really nice control circuit that gave us the ability to move the arm and to hold it in position.
Right.
On counterbalancing. So
if I can paraphrase, it sounds like you made it more powerful and easier to control at the same time. Right.
We did.
Right.
It was quite an improvement over what we were struggling with out of the box.
Right. Well, do you see a lot of opportunity? You said they're talking about making this part of a standard package now, so there must be a lot of opportunity for this combination.
There is, and shortly after posting the video to social media, the number of inquiries went through the roof. And the hardest part is trying to explain to folks that we're not a pressure washing company. We help you use the equipment there so that, you're able to take a standard piece of construction equipment and a standard piece of Dynaset equipment, put them together, and go and do the work at the work site, as opposed to having to do it another means.
Right. Yeah, and it sounds like again, it was forgive me again. It sounds like you're the guy in the garage, like souping up the car, right? So, yeah, it's not what do they call it, rolling off the line that way, or
Yeah,
it's not the
no,
spec per se, but maybe it's going to become the new spec, I guess.
yeah.
And only hydraulics could do this, right? Can you talk a little bit about what makes hydraulics the right technology for this particular application?
Well, the power density that hydraulics offers you is still going to be the most efficient, longest operating duty cycles available. Electrics are getting closer every day. Batteries are getting, having longer life. You're getting more power out of smaller packages, uh, but nothing to date has been able to replace, um, that reliable piece of equipment that comes from a hydraulic circuit.
Yeah.
And just the installed base that's out there. You could take a piece of this Dynaset equipment out, and you could find the farmer's tractor in the field, and take a welder, plug it into the hydraulics on the tractor, and then you could weld up the bucket on the guy's equipment right there.
Right.
And you can't really do that unless you got a really long extension cord. So if you've got a piece of equipment that has a hydraulic source of power, we've got the means to put that power to good use. Like I said, only with hydraulics.
Yeah, that comparison you just made to electrical actuation is an interesting one, because we know that a huge trend in the equipment market is electrifying the propulsion systems on especially a lot of these smaller vehicles, which are small in the world of construction equipment at least. And that sounds like that's the kind of vehicle that this Dynaset and your modified version of it winds up getting attached to. Are you seeing, are those still internal combustion engines on those machines that you're attaching to, or are they increasingly becoming electric motors of some kind or battery packs?
We're starting to see a lot of requests for how can I do this with an electric source.
Yeah.
So I'm not able to get the power that I need from a rotating electric motor to drive the Dynaset, because it is powered by the hydraulics. It's the prime mover,
Right.
for whatever technology you're trying to enhance. But what we are finding is that using a hydraulic pump with a electrified power source, and then taking that, converting it to hydraulic power, and then attaching everything to the Dynaset, gives us the ability to have a much stronger use of that.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I mean, again, the trend, as I understand it, is when it comes to whatever the actuation function is on the machine, because of those power density reasons and otherwise, it's still always going to be hydraulics. It's like it's the power that you need. You just have to marry it to a different kind of power source as they seek those efficiencies on that end of the system. So it sounds like this is something that's evolving in that direction in this space as well.
This is, if you think about it, the first step was hybrid, a combination of internal combustion and electric. The advances have moved over more to the electric side, to where you're all electric.
Right.
It's still, to do the things we need to do, moving a load, lifting a load, things that take a lot of power. It's just, you're not able to put it in a small package as you are with hydraulics. So
right.
I envision, this is a hybrid solution until something better comes along. So the bad technology is, the older technology is not bad technology. It's just, it's going to have to help the new technology get developed.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
what else is coming out of the workshop there, Chuck? You got any other innovations, any other souped up Mustangs that you can deliver to the marketplace, or what's on the horizon for you guys?
We're working on new stuff every single day. Dynaset is constantly innovating both their products and how to use them. in new markets. This past 2 years, they introduced the HPW 160 series pump. It's a very small pump, and I took a picture close to an iPhone, and it's it's a little bit bigger than an iPhone, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
They've integrated some of the control valves and things like that into the solution. They're making the pump smaller. The 160 has the ability to give you about 4 gallons of water at 2,400 psi. By comparison, that's still about double what you get out of a small gas engine pressure washer,
Right.
which you'd buy at a big box store. We have pumps that are capable to go to the ocean depths. So we're doing a lot of things with new coatings, new materials that allow us to handle the salt water in the marine environments and to, like I said, operate at the ocean floor pumping salt water.
Yeah.
So these pumps can go with pressures as high as 23,000. We have some that are in development that are going to go even higher with even higher flows. And you're doing that with about 3,500 to 5,000 psi hydraulic flow, hydraulic pressure. And what HPS is doing is we're taking that existing technology and saying, okay, how can I take this piece of equipment from Dynaset and make it so that the customer is able to use it better? So what we do is we leverage our expertise in cartridge valve technology and control solution, and we'll bolt a custom manifold with a hydraulic circuit onto a Dynaset pump that allows us to control things like pressure, flow, on and off. We have some work in development where we're going to be doing some proportional electrical controls that will go subsea. Electrical and water don't like to play with each other, but in this case,
right,
we're going to be able to drive something proportionally at the ocean floor.
That's great. Been a great example, if you will, of again the versatility of the technology and the innovation that is really manifesting through companies like Hydra-Power and others as we try to apply this technology in new and interesting ways. So I appreciate the review, and we wish you guys the best of luck as you move forward into new opportunities.
Hey, Eric, thank you so much for having me.
Great. It's been a pleasure. And that is going to wrap things up for this episode of Fluid Power Forum. My thanks to Chuck Tuggle, who has been my guest on this episode. If you'd like to connect with him and learn even more about the projects that they're working on, Dynaset or others, the best way to do that is by his email address, and we're going to put a link to that email in the show notes. I know he would welcome anyone to reach out to learn more. And also to learn more about fluid power, your best bet is to attend IFPI, the International Fluid Power Exposition. There you can see firsthand the latest fluid power technology advancements and learn from industry experts. That next show is going to be March of 2023 in Las Vegas. Go to ifpe.com for more information. Fluid Power Forum is a podcast of the National Fluid Power Association. I'm your host, Eric Lanke, reminding you to join us next time in the forum.